Everyone fears it. The moment when you put yourself out there and are met with a no. Rejection feels personal. Sometimes it feels humiliating. And sometimes, perhaps all of the time, it can make us feel like we're not enough. It can also make us afraid to put ourselves out there in the first place, which is why this video is so important. Most men don't realize that a lot of the time, women hate rejecting them. And most women wish that men knew what it really means when we say no. So in this video, I'm gonna share some real truths about rejection, why it happens, what it actually means, but most importantly, how to walk away with your confidence intact to make yourself even stronger and have the capacity to turn around and try again. The reality of life is this: we all get rejected. I don't care how hot, successful, smart, funny, tall, wealthy, whatever you are. I don't care how sexually skilled or experienced you are. I don't care how great of a communicator or a flirt you are still going to face rejection. Male, female, non-binary, all of us. So you might as well know how to use it to your advantage. Without further ado, here are my 7 truths about rejection. Number 7, it's usually not about you. I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. When a woman rejects you, there is a solid chance that she's just not into you. It's straightforward, but it's not as simple as it sounds. Because an important thing to remember is that attraction is so subjective. So many teeny tiny little factors go into whether or not someone gives you a chance. Timing, mood, life circumstances, their personal history, the fact that you look like one of their cousins, all of that plays a role. Sometimes you'll face rejection because the person that you're speaking to just isn't emotionally available. Sometimes they're not ready for a relationship. Sometimes, yes, it's because you're just simply not for them, or there's no spark or no attraction there. But the important thing to remember is that just because you aren't the right fit for them at that moment doesn't mean anything about you. Look at it this way. Let's throw out the idea of like bad timing altogether. It's true that we all have our sort of types, right? You might like blondes, you might like brunettes or redheads. I have a friend who is super attracted to guys with big noses. Every single man she's ever dated happens to have one. It's just her thing. So is the guy with a smaller nose any less of a catch? Obviously no, he's simply not her type. When someone says no to you, they're not saying no to your worth. They're not saying no to how great you are on the inside or the out. All they're saying is that they're looking for something different than what you're offering at this time. Obviously, if you're disrespectful or crude and then you get hit with a no, that's something to work on. And if that no coming from her is disrespectful and cruel, that's on her. And I'm sorry if that's ever happened to you. But if you're approaching women with thoughtfulness, intention, kindness, respect, a no usually has more to do with her than it does with you. Number 6, most women feel guilty about rejecting you. Like I've said before, everyone on this planet has been rejected, even the women who have rejected you. And because of this, most of us women actually feel really bad doing it. We can empathize. We know how much it sucks. I have been rejected so many times. And I say that because I'm pretty good at letting people know when I'm attracted, putting myself out there. I don't stop myself from hitting on people when I am interested about them. So I have experienced plenty of rejection over time. It is important to understand this in particular because sometimes women give sort of like a half rejection, not a full-on no, but like a wishy-washy answer that leaves you feeling really confused, or like she's out of alignment, she's saying one thing, she's kind of doing another. Women are taught, most of us, from a very early age to avoid conflict and prioritize other people's feelings. And because of this, some women deliver rejections in a soft or even very confusing way. She may be vague or hesitant or apologetic or unclear or stumble over her words or not say much at all. Not because she's unsure, but because she's afraid of hurting you. Worst case scenario, maybe someone in her past got really aggressive or even violent after she rejected him, and she's trying to avoid that happening again. If she doesn't know you, she doesn't know how you're going to respond. If you have asked someone out or clearly stated your interest in them, and you are met with an answer that you feel like you have to decipher, it's a really good idea to either be more direct or cut your losses. If a woman feels guilty and doesn't want to give you a clear rejection, you have the right to ask for clarity in a kind and considerate way. If you feel like you're being strung along or you're not sure what this song and dance is about, you can just say, hey, I get the feeling that this isn't a 100% yes for you. Don't worry about it. This gives her the chance to correct you if you've read the situation wrong, but it also gives her the comfort to just be direct. Most importantly, it allows you to reclaim your power. If it isn't a 100% yes for both of you, then you don't want it, and that shows confidence. That brings me to my next point. Number 5. It's how you respond that matters. The men who respond to rejection in a confident, high integrity, crystal clear, okay, not a problem, there's plenty more, abundance kind of mindset, they tend to be a lot more successful with women in the bigger picture over a long enough time frame. Because the truth is, how you handle rejection leaves a lasting impression. It might even open the door at a later point. How many of us have heard a story about a guy approaching a woman, her saying no thank you, and him handling that very well, handling that with respect, just moving on, and then later him staying on her mind and her reaching back out, actually becoming interested. A lot of us say no before we say yes. You come up and we're like, no, because we haven't really thought about it yet. And then after you leave with respect and dignity and you look hot and sexy because you handle it that way, we start thinking, oh wait, maybe that guy was kind of cute. Maybe I should go over and give him my number. Maybe I do want to get coffee with him. I'm not saying that this is a surefire way to change the outcome. I'm just saying that if you close the door by being rude or not handling rejection well, the door is closed. You can always revisit something if you don't burn a bridge on your way out. How do you handle rejection with confidence and grace and integrity? Sometimes it's just as simple as saying, hey, thanks for being honest. I respect that. And then moving on. Go talk to her friend. The key is to keep it simple. Be easygoing, be kind. It's not her fault that she isn't available or she isn't into it. No one is to blame here, right? Handling rejection with confidence happens when you understand that it is not personal. There's no fault. There's no blame. It sends a message to her that you're not worried about her saying no because you know your worth. You know that there are plenty of women out there who are actually looking for what you have to offer. It's also really attractive because it sends a message that you have that abundance mentality and you're not going to get hung up on one little rejection when there are plenty of fish in this sea. You know what you have to offer, so you're comfortable with the fact that not everybody is going to want it. Which brings me to number 4. Don't turn it into a personal narrative. Reframing your relationship with rejection is so important if you want to have a confident and successful sex life. But I know it can seem a lot easier said than done. Truth is, we all have an inner critic, and our inner critic loves to take rejection and spin a whole big story out of it. Our inner critic will create narratives like, no one finds me attractive. I'm unwanted. I'll be alone forever. I'm going to die alone and childless and penniless. And on and on and on and on. All of those narratives are pretty tempting to us. And unfortunately, they are sadly a part of our human nature. Our brains love to look for and explain situations. We're constantly devising a story to explain the world around us, especially when the world around us is unpleasant. So if you get rejected once or twice or even a few times, it can be very easy to go to an internal place where you tell yourself that rejection is your eternal fate. You are unwanted, unloved, and this is just proof of that, right? But that's not the objective truth. You've got to get that that is just a story that you are telling yourself. Let's take a moment here and I'll show you. You can even pause the video in a second if you want an extra minute to reflect. Ask yourself, what is the story that you're telling yourself when it comes to rejection? Take some time to really think about it. Get really clear on the ticker tape, the words that run through your mind, even as we're discussing this subject here together on YouTube. What is it that you are telling yourself? How are you arguing with me and telling me that I'm wrong, that you actually are a worthless piece of shit and you will never be loved? That's the narrative. Don't confuse that with reality. Instead, call it what it is, a story that you made up, and begin to think about the consequences of that story if you continue to tell it to yourself and what narrative might actually be more beneficial for you. Can you reframe the thinking, I'm not good enough, to she's looking for something specific and it just happens to be something different than what I can offer? See how much more gentle that second story is? If you perceive rejection as a personal failure, start to just try to see if you can shift the perspective to seeing it as a redirection on your journey to find the real deal. It's almost like you took a left turn and the little GPS that's giving you directions starts to say, redirect, new course. Okay, you took a left turn that wasn't getting you towards the ultimate goal. The signpost says, hey, this isn't the way. We just make a right next time. Number 3, rejection builds sexual maturity. So not only does every rejection simply redirect you to something that's better for you, but it also actually builds your relational, sexual, and emotional maturity. Learning to handle no with grace and staying confident in the face of rejection is like building a muscle. It goes a long way towards creating more emotional depth and more sexual confidence. Think of it like reps. The more you get used to hearing no, the less that you'll be afraid of it. it. And the less afraid you are of no, the more likely you are to ask the question, ask her out, ask for a date. The more likely you are to actually get to a yes. You see where I'm going with this? The men who don't fear rejection are the ones who succeed, not because they avoid it, but because they've befriended it. Unfortunately, with dating, it can really be a numbers game. Whether you approach someone at a bar or swipe right for them on an app, 9 times out of 10, you will have no idea if the person that you are connecting with is actually a good fit for you. The more comfortable that you are with taking that swing, the more likely that you're actually going to get to know someone who is the right fit for you eventually. Number 2, and this is important, rejection happens in relationships too. Next truth about rejection is that it doesn't end just once you've gotten in the relationship. Once you landed the girl, you're still signing up for a life that includes rejection, because couples reject each other as well. Whether it's for sex or an invitation to get romantic or intimate or have a conversation or go to a thing, if you think about it, this is a phenomenal way to illustrate that rejection isn't always personal. Someone can literally choose you as their life partner, as their husband, and still reject you in other ways. If rejection is happening within your relationship, it is an invitation to look deeper. What's going on that's creating an environment where rejection is thriving? Maybe there's disconnection. Maybe there's a lack of emotional or physical intimacy. Maybe there's some leftover resentment or stress. The wires are just crossed and communication's not quality. Maybe one or both of you is feeling stressed, overwhelmed, or just not sexy. If you're facing rejection in your relationship, it is time to get curious. Same as rejection from strangers, it's good to start with the assumption that it isn't about you. If your partner rejects you, it doesn't automatically make you the victim. It doesn't make you or anything about you wrong or bad or broken. Instead, approach it from a place of curiosity. Ask them what's going on. Ask them why it is that they're saying no to whatever it is that you are offering. Come from a place of care. Come from a place of a genuine desire to connect with them. Give them a chance to help you bridge that gap. And again, check your ego by reminding yourself that what they are doing is not about you, even if they say it is. I've seen plenty of relationships where one person's like, well, yeah, I reject you because you always blah, blah, blah. It's still not about you, even when they say it is. It's not to fight about, it's something to keep in consideration. On to my number 1 truth about rejection. It is hot to own your desires. Confidence is all about being clear on, being your own yes to, and clearly owning your own desires. It is not about getting every woman to say yes every time. Please leave that shit to the slimy pickup artists. You know, the ones they keep like spreadsheets of the women that they've tricked into them. Yes, that is a specific example. Surviving, even thriving after rejection is all about knowing what you want and not being afraid to ask for it or to walk away, all without the need for approval. The truth is, if you approach a woman in a way that is appropriate and respectful, you may just make her day, even if she says no and isn't available. A guy at the poke bowl place down the street was heavy flirting with me the other day, and even though I wasn't interested in exchanging information or doing anything further, I still enjoyed the interaction. Flirtation is a part of what makes us feel alive. I would like to think that that's like what the hummingbirds are doing with the flowers. It's what the bees are doing. Flirtation is life happening, right? And if you're practiced at it and you're willing to make mistakes, be corrected, understand it's not the end of the world. You're not going to get Me Too'd or canceled because you made some woman feel a little awkward because you laid on the flirtation a little bit too thick or asked her for her number when she clearly wasn't that interested. You are free to make mistakes and be imperfect. So think of every interaction as practice. Think of everything as one more rep, a chance to hone your flirtation and seduction skills so that when you do get inevitably turned down, like all of us will, you can make your own day by knowing that you are a man with enough confidence to know what he wants and go after it. If that's the standard for the criteria, then you can win every single time. At the end of the day, people are not ranked and matched like bronze, silver, and gold medals. If someone rejects you, it doesn't mean anything about you or her. It doesn't mean that she was out of your league or whatever else you're putting on it inside of your head. Humans are more like complicated puzzle pieces looking for our match. It might just be that the woman that you're talking to knows that your 2 puzzle pieces aren't going to fit together and she's just the first person to say it. Remember, every no along the way is bringing you closer to someone who is a big yes. Now, we all have our rejection and acceptance stories, and I would love to hear yours in the comments, especially if you're able to look back and extract some wisdom that's beneficial for everyone. And while you're down there, make sure that you are subscribed to my channel. I'm Caitlin V, and I will see you here later. Bye.